Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is in the stream. I am just starting right now, and I would like to kind of give a couple of updates on this channel. Hopefully, everyone's going to be joining in a few minutes here. And basically, the idea is I really wanted to update all of the courses that I have. But first, I wanted to start with updating the Instagram Firebase course with a couple of different updates. So I am also releasing some other additional courses onto the website, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to be able to get that done. And that's what we're going to be talking about for today. So hopefully I can get some of the folks in here to sort of chime in on what they are expecting for the website as well as the YouTube channel. And I'm just waiting for some folks to join in on the chat here. And let me just get my simulator up and running. So one thing I do want to show you guys how to do is to perhaps use core animation to make your applications a little bit more, I guess, poppy. Is that a word? And you see how we have this little circular animation that is kind of bumping up the little inner circle radius a little bit larger every couple of seconds. It has this nice pulsating effect, right? And so that's really nice. It's actually not that difficult to build one of these things, and I would like to show everyone how to do that. Obviously not today. And whenever I get the time to edit some of these features here, I will be able to get you guys a lesson on how to do this. So essentially what this little animation is doing is it is tracking the download progress of a certain URL session task. More specifically, it's a URL session download task class. And that allows you to monitor the progress on one of these download things. It's downloading like a 5 megabyte or 10 megabyte file. And, it requires a lot of coding to get it to work properly. There's a CA layer along with an animation, along with some scale transformations that allow you to achieve a certain effect like this. And I already see a lot of people asking about like coding versus storyboarding. And so again, one of the reasons why I don't do storyboards is because this effect right here is impossible to achieve inside of a storyboard. And this is all coding. If you don't know how to approach coding in a certain way, then you'll never be able to build one of these effects out. So, we might as well just skip the storyboarding and go on to the more complex and more exciting things about iOS. Anyone that wants to learn about dragging and dropping UI elements into an editor, there are a lot of good iOS channels, tutorials. Pretty much 99% of what you can find out there is more geared towards like newcomers that are using storyboards, and you can check those out if you really wanted to. Yeah, so this is all about more advanced material. This channel is not dedicated to like, how to drag something into a storyboard. If I had to show how to do that, I would kill myself. I would blow my brains out if I had to do that like outside of this channel. I don't mind doing it in person, but I prefer not to do that on this channel here. So let me quickly go through some of the things that I wanted to discuss here today. And the biggest course that I am planning on teaching everyone is a Node.js course, because a lot of the students here want to actually know how to build their own backend database server that they can access themselves on like a private server. And the thing about Firebase is that it's a really good service. However, if you wanted to actually use like MySQL Firebase isn't an option for that. And typically what you'll find when you're working at a small startup is that they have some kind of backend server, maybe PHP, Node, Rails, or something. And you really have to understand how these servers are running in some kind of cloud architecture. And Node.js is like a really easy way to get into how to actually approach doing that. So I plan on putting up maybe like 5 to 10 lessons on the YouTube channel on how to set up Node.js, how to get your server up and running, and then eventually we're going to like put it onto either Heroku or AWS, or maybe something like Docker. So a lot of technologies are available to launch a server onto the cloud, and to me that's one of the more interesting aspects of engineering. Like building out an iOS app is pretty boring after a while. Like to be quite frank, like writing another iOS application is it's a lot of work that you do over and over. That's not all that fun anymore. So once you get over, building out UI, you can start building out servers and understand how everything kind of works together. So that's the thing that I really wanted to take care of. And then the next little update is for the Instagram Firebase course that we currently have up on the website. And a lot of the students are asking about push notifications and how to integrate them into the app. So push notification requires you to use the FCM Firebase cloud messaging platform to push individual messages to individual devices. Now, that's actually not too difficult, and I am going to wow, so we got two super chat donations in like a minute. Let me talk about the push notification update first. So Firebase Cloud Messaging and the Admin SDK, as well as Firebase Cloud Functions. In order to get push notifications to all of the devices inside of your app, you sort of need to use all 3 of these technologies together so that you can send individual notifications to separate devices depending on what happens inside of Firebase database. So I have all that set up on a couple of test devices, my iPhone 10, my iPad, and yeah. So those 2 devices allow me to just push events back and forth between the Firebase server and every app that's out there. So I'm going to update that course with this feature. I have it all working, just have to record those couple of videos for everyone, and then I'll send an email to everyone that's registered to the course about those updates. And then the next thing I am constantly being asked for is pagination within the home feed. Now, the reason why I haven't done this yet is because pagination itself is always very complicated. I wouldn't say difficult, but it's kind of complicated. It's definitely not trivial, which means that you have to have like a couple of things working on the back end and the front end at the same time. And if everything is in sync, then the pagination is very easy to integrate. Out of the box, Firebase doesn't really support pagination that well. You can paginate through Firebase database nodes and items underneath your nodes, but if you're trying to implement this without knowing exactly what you're trying to do with the home feed, it's kind of impossible to do it. So I would like to show everyone how to integrate pagination with Firebase Cloud Functions and the admin feature. And yeah, it's a pretty fun feature to build out. Yeah. So once I take care of that, the last thing I want to launch is some kind of mapping course, really. So similar to like an Airbnb or Yelp, where users can browse for locations on a map kit view. So everyone that's used Airbnb or Yelp or what else is out there? Like Google Maps. All of that is integrating with maps and GPS and how to locate things on some kind of view. And that's a lot of fun. I think that's one of the most interesting features that you can build out on like an iPhone app, and it's very immersive. User experience is a lot of fun, and that's what I wanted to work on for this channel and also the website. So I'm going to somehow split up some of the work, like somehow, and I'll get that out. I don't think I'll be able to have enough time to release that this year, but it's something that's definitely on the roadmap, and it's one of those things that I would like to take care of. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to mention for today. Let's get back to this thing. I don't know if this thing still animates. So yeah, so Powell, thank you for the super chat donation. Love what you do. Thank you for coming. No, thank you for coming today. So Ruslan says, I never coded, just tiny experience in Java, working in technical support, network, and virtualization. Where to start in iOS? Your course? I think you should probably start watching some of the videos on the channel. Get a taste for what some of the algorithms look like, how to use for loops, and get familiar with a lot of like the Swift syntax. And then once you are familiar with that, you can move on to either the free course on the YouTube channel or even maybe the Instagram course on the website. They all start from scratch, which means that you can start coding along with me right away. And it's pretty easy to follow. We have a lot of students going through that course right now, and they're all learning a lot. So yeah. Okay, so with all that being said, let me see. So I have a question about Kotlin. I am thinking about doing more Kotlin videos and a series on Kotlin. Don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet for Kotlin and Android. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So let me go up to the top. So we have Alex. It's been a while since I've seen Alex. I think it's been maybe last live stream. Yeah. So we have greetings from Germany. Nice. Launch screen. No, this is not a launch screen. It's just a progress monitor for a download. We have Bobby. Good to see Bobby. Hope you're enjoying the San Francisco lifestyle. Johan. Good to see you again. Excited for the course from Tyler. SBTV says, so happy to find your channel today. Yeah. Pankaj. Good morning. Animation course would be wow. Send me some Bitcoin. Not a Bitcoin investor, so I don't have any Bitcoin. Casey West. Good to see you, Casey, again. I think Casey, I got your email about the meetup, but I just haven't gotten around to replying, which is very irresponsible of me. I will try to get to that email. I have some things with some other people scheduled as well. Yeah. Is the core data course free on YouTube? So the core data course is about 30 episodes, I think. So it's quite a few lessons. And for a course that big, I typically have it just on the website where you can purchase it. So it allows me to teach on a different, more detailed level. The YouTube stuff is good, but it doesn't allow me to like teach everything I want. So you get much more for the things that you purchase, obviously. So greetings from Sacramento, California. Yeah, I just got back from Sacramento, California. That's where my family is, and that's where I spent my Thanksgiving. Sana Lee says, make a course on storyboard. Again, this course is not really meant for anything other, or this channel isn't really dedicated to that kind of thing. Yeah, everything on this channel is more interactive. It's more about truly understanding how to put things together in a real world scenario. Yeah, I'm not saying, you know, storyboard is good too. And yeah, great to have Instagram continue. Ali Makango from Tanzania. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, good to see you. Ali, I know you leave some comments on the website, so it's good to see you on the channel as well. I think some people don't work only code. Yeah, depending on what type of programmers you are working with, you'll see a lot of zibs, you'll see a lot of storyboards, and then you'll see a lot of code. One thing that's true is that you'll definitely see code no matter which type of organization you work in. So you'll have to learn how to code eventually. You can't avoid it. OKC in the house. OKC, they recently beat the Warriors, which, man, that was a painful loss for us. I know I'm a big basketball nerd. So, save JSON to core data with Q. I think we are doing that. We're doing that on a background queue inside of the core data course. So, not sure exactly what you mean by that. Sean says, thanks, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you ate some good turkey or Beijing duck. We did not have turkey and we did not have Beijing duck. I think we had ribs. I think we had ribs and hot wings. That's what we had. It's good. Good Thanksgiving. You are the man. Well, thank you, Daniel. Hello from London. Hello. Please focus on clean code and design patterns. Make it advanced course. We already take Instagram course and we need to move on to the next level. Advanced Swift, advanced iOS. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's kind of why we're avoiding the storyboard, because you really have to get to the next level by touching the code. That's something you just have to learn. Do you think about backend courses? Yeah. So Node.js is gonna be that backend course. So the reason why I picked Node.js over things like PHP, Rails, and maybe Google Go and Java is because Node.js is probably the easiest language to learn and the easiest technology stack to get into. And yeah, it's pretty simple from what I've been able to build out. A lot of really good documentation on Google as well. And because you're programming in JavaScript, everything just seems to be easier, although it's not as safe, like what we call type safe. It's just easier to get into. What is the forecast for the course update? So the Firebase stuff should be out next week. I have it ready, just need to record and then upload it, and then yeah, and then it'll be on the website, and then I'll send out an email or somehow I'll notify everyone. So I agree with Wasim about advanced Swift, advanced iOS. Yeah. So the original intent for the channel and the website was to get everyone off of the beginner level and then get everyone into more advanced development style. So let me remove the simulator. And yeah, I'm probably the only guy who teaches coding 100%. No storyboards. Love you, man. Why no Black Friday deals? The reason why I didn't put any Black Friday sales on the website is because I didn't really have the time to get the implementation or the integration for sales in the website. And I didn't really know what type of sales I wanted to allow on the website as well. So that's kind of why I didn't have that option. So Ruslan says that I work in technical support, virtualization a lot, but dreams of working in iOS development. Yeah. What's the best way I can save books and store them on the device with a sort of library? I don't know. It depends on what your books are stored as. If they're just text, then you can store them as text. Just use like core data to save it as. I guess you have to store the text as probably binary data because the string might be too small. You might not be able to store really large amounts of text in core data. So you just got to give it a try. What do you think about the wheel like collection view? I've never done the implementation of a wheel on a collection view, but yeah, should be interesting to mess with collection view layout. It's a really difficult layout system though. WebRTC, I've never really implemented that, but this is what web real-time channel. I think it's for video or streaming video across one server and many users. So Johan says, you've helped me so much. I have 3 almost completed apps waiting to be uploaded to the App Store. I don't think you know how grateful I am. Sources like you make great developers. Yeah, I'm just really happy to have everyone learn at the same time. Like trying to teach a course or trying to teach an in-person like lecture course where you go into some kind of classroom, have students sit down, that's really not as effective as like a YouTube channel. And having taught like real lecture style sessions, it's really hard for students to stay engaged, especially the biggest problem with classrooms when teaching iOS is that everyone learns at such a different pace. Like I've noticed that people learn much faster and much more consistently through a video because they can pause and fast forward. Instead of a classroom, you have to make sure that the slowest student is able to follow along, which means I think 80% of the class is just sitting there doing nothing. So this is why video technology is so helpful for learning like development. Node.js with MongoDB. So I don't really want to do MongoDB because the querying style of MongoDB is just, I don't really like the querying of a NoSQL database. I find it difficult. But we'll see what I use. Most likely we'll go with MySQL. Tyler says, so excited for the Node.js course. I'm currently building an app that needs a server and would really benefit from a tutorial on how to use it. Yeah. I would love to help with the Node.js tutorial. Will there be an update for the Instagram course for Firestore? So most likely I will use probably like a different course to teach Firestore. I haven't really been able to build anything complex with it yet. I've considered a couple of different ideas to teach Firestore. I'm still working on it. So I don't think I'll update the Instagram course with Firestore because I don't think that would be a good use of time for everyone. So as a computer science student, I want to get into iOS. I've been learning it for a while now, but I don't see a lot of new grad iOS jobs. Do you think I should continue learning it? That's kind of strange because that's kind of what I've experienced as well. Yeah, I don't know what to do about graduating and then getting an iOS job, because right when you graduate, you don't really have so many choices as to where you want to work at, like what type of company. And the problem is you only get the choice to choose and pick where you want to work after you have a couple of years of experience. And that's the path that I kind of chose. And I was able to pick and choose whatever I wanted to do after like 4 or 5 years of experience. So I don't know if there's an easy way to get around that, unfortunately. Okay, so we have a super chat from someone. I think his name is, I can't remember. I know I recognize that icon. So let me just jump down here. So Simran Preet Singh with a super chat of $12.58 US. I'm not really sure what this number represents. $12.58. It's a good number. He says, I already bought your coordinated course and gonna buy the Instagram course afterwards, and we'll jump into the Node.js right away. When you launch, that's just a weird, I know. It's a weird number. It's not a weird path for the courses. The thing about, like, it's not just iOS, but programming in general. Once you get into iOS, you start to see that, oh, I need a server. And then once you realize you need a server, you need to build a server. You need something like Node. And then you figure out, oh, I need to build out push notifications as well. And then you need another service. And what you'll find is you just jump from one technology to another technology, and then you just jump all around. And then after a good, like, maybe 3 to 4 years, you get really good at just doing everything. So people that are always wondering, like, is iOS like the best path to, but the best like direction for like a career? The thing is, if you're good at iOS, you'll eventually get into like all this other technology as well. So yeah, it's great. I mean, it's excellent that I'm able to just like teach people so many different aspects of iOS. I mean, it makes my job enjoyable, and it makes it rewarding as well. Yeah. Yeah, weird number. Yeah. So where did I leave off at? Okay. So we have Ruslan. Your channel is a gold mine for developers. I wish you all the best. Well, thank you, Ruslan. You're great. Thank you for your courses. Going to buy your new courses. Actually, the best available on the internet. Thank you, Victor. That does mean a lot. I'm trying to like put together the most amount of content that's useful for new iOS developers, and then also like really good content. Like, I really dislike putting content out there just to put out content, and I'm very like selective in terms of teaching certain things that are totally not useful. I don't really like doing that. So you'll only find really like practical and advanced things on this channel. I don't really want to waste people's times on like, how do you build this table view thing? Like, I don't really like doing that. And yeah, because everyone is like able to support me just through the channel, through the website, I'm able to put out whatever I think is most useful to everyone out there. Yeah. Bojan Milanovic. I'm good. You know, I came back from not Black Friday, but Thanksgiving holiday with the family. You know, spent some time with my dad, my mom, my sister, all of her kids, nieces and nephews. It was a good time. It's kind of good to get away from like recording videos and editing, planning, preparing, and doing all of this stuff constantly every day, which is my job now. And getting into YouTube just is so time consuming. I don't really want to rant about it right now, but it just takes up so much of the day that it's just good to get away from it all. So Anmal says, please make some videos on custom view controller transitions. I am finding them hard to follow through code. All the tutorials use storyboard. Please just make one. So the custom animation that I have for the Instagram app, that allows us to click on the camera thing on the top left and slide from left to right instead of right to left. That's a custom transition from view controller to view controller. I think you have the course Animal, so that's one way of doing it. And yeah, I really like animations a lot, and that's kind of why I'm a UI front-end engineer first. I also love back-end engineering, but UI animations is one of the things that gets me most excited about iOS development. So Bobby says it's raining SF. Yeah, the weather's not great today. Which is better, Golang or Node.js? So I answered this question in one of the comments in a video, and I think so. Better is a very hard to define term, especially in programming, engineering, and programming languages. So what's better, really? I personally, I use Google Golang for the server that hosts all the courses and the source code for everything. And so the question is, why am I deciding to teach in Node.js instead of Google Golang if that's what I'm using? Well, Node.js is just easier to learn. If you try to understand and if you try to do your own research on how to build out a Google Golang server yourself, like do actual research, it's really difficult to find beginner tutorials that will hold your hand throughout that beginning process, which is always the most important thing. And without proper documentation and tutorials, lessons on how to do this, it's just super difficult, and that's the problem with Google Golang right now. However, if you already understand how servers are built and how you process requests, then Google Golang might be the better option, and that's kind of why I choose Google Go. So Bobby Jap says, I'd be more open to learn Kotlin. I'm loving Swift and use it for work now, finally. That's great. Bobby says, your videos helped. Yeah. I love Kotlin as well. So whenever I'm building out these lessons and these courses, I have a really good time because I'm getting better at the technology myself. Yeah. Just putting together the lessons and recording it for everyone is somewhat time consuming. I hope I could be faster at it. It always takes so much time. I have a social media app idea that is unique to Facebook, Instagram, chat. Yep, I'm still learning how to code. Adam El Kadi, Brian the Man, I'm glad you took my idea. Yeah, everyone's been asking for it. Kawi, is that how you pronounce that? Wow, we got 10 pounds. Let me see if I can get through this. Thanks for sharing all this information. Well, thanks for all the support. Everyone's been really supportive on this channel, which I'm not surprised because the people that visit a channel and the people that support it, it's kind of reflective of the content that you put out there. So I'm not surprised that all the hard work that I put in here is attracting like really good, honest, supportive people. So people being supportive of consuming what's on this channel has been really helpful. And it's kind of like a two-way process or two-way street where I want to put out the best things for you guys, and having you guys support it it's awesome. It's awesome. Something like this, like a YouTube channel that allows for this type of communication, definitely not possible like 10 years ago. So yeah, consider doing a course on live streaming apps like YouNow. So I don't know what YouNow is, but a live streaming app, that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure it's all that possible. So Ahmad says, please no storyboard. You made us raise the bar working programmatically and faster too. Yep, I totally agree that working programmatically is actually faster. Even though in the beginning it seems like a lot of coding and a lot of work, you don't have all this baggage of like the storyboard. It just feels like anytime I want to make a modification, I have to go through like 20 different menu items to change a certain thing. It's definitely not for me. if you're using it, that's fine. Senior software development and testing. I don't remember exactly what SDET is, but yeah, it's pretty awesome that you're working on iOS and testing for iOS now. Can you do some more videos about memory management and iOS development? I can try to. Tips on salary negotiation. Yeah, I'm not really great at negotiation. The ways that I've gotten successful at trying to raise my salary, especially during the hiring phase, is to really not care about getting the job or not. So whenever I've been able to just say to them honestly that, oh, I don't really want to work here because I have other things to do, that's the best way to actually negotiate for a higher salary. And the reason why that works is because, like, let's say it is true that you have other things to do, which is most of the time, if you're a good engineer, you have 10, 20 different offers and projects to work on. That's just what happens in the real world. And if the company is already negotiating with you on wanting to pay you, a couple of things. This company wants you to work for them. They want you as an important engineer in their team, and they like who you are. So they think that you're going to be able to get along with everyone there, not just the engineering team, and they think that you're easy to work with. So these are all very, very hard to find. I didn't realize this until like later in my career. And so once you know these things, they're going to hire you no matter how much you're asking for. They want you to work for them. And to them, like $10,000, $20,000, that's actually not a lot of money to a company, especially a tech startup. So asking for $10,000, $20,000 in the US it's actually like nothing to these guys. The problem with getting a higher base salary when you get hired is that when you try to ask for more money in the next year during evaluations, it's very difficult to ask for like a salary bump when you had a higher base salary. So the Crab says, I would love to help with Node.js tutorial. Sorry for shouting there. Yeah. Website question. I travel a lot and can't watch it on my phone for your Instagram course because high video quality. Is there another way around? So something that I have been really, really considering is a way to download. I really want to provide an iOS app for the courses. I want to work on that. I can't promise anything right now, but it is an issue that I've been really trying to find an easy solution for. I'm thinking about it. I just want to let you know that I'm actually really thinking about that problem. Is Firebase the most reliable way of connecting the app to a database? Is there disadvantages using Firebase? I don't know. I think Firebase is great. I mean, the team that builds it is the Google Firebase team, and they do a really great job at everything. There might be problems here and there, but you should be able to trust these guys and with what they're doing. I should make a video about Firebase rules, functions. So I want to do Firebase rules. I find that that's a really interesting topic. Will you make a video about handling different environments, Xcode? I don't think so. I don't really know how many environments you'll run into. Brain, please, important item of Firebase is that the issue with the refresh control pull down bug fixed on the home feed. Yeah, so I want to modify how that home feed is getting fetched so that you can support pagination. So I want to fix that problem at the same time, and we'll get to it. Will you show us how to build the download animation maybe now? Yeah, this animation right here is is just a progress monitor, and every time the number of bytes downloaded divided by the total expected bytes, that is what is drawing the circular path that you're seeing. It's not too hard. Well, anything that you know how to do already doesn't seem too hard. Create an app with login Firebase. Applications bring problems. I don't know how to create newsfeed like Facebook using Firebase Android Studio. Yeah, the Instagram app will eventually teach you how to create the home feed. Is PWA really as good as and promising as they say? I don't have a whole lot of faith in. Well, I don't know. PWA, progressive web apps, seems like such a new technology that every time something tries to replace native apps, it just doesn't seem like it's successful. So I'm hoping that this is going to be successful, because the problem they're trying to solve is a real problem of like installing too many apps on your phone, and the PWA technology is going to like allow for a lot of different things to replace that or to fix that problem. I think the solution might be derived from your latest video on collapse, expand sections in the table. Study universe, just joined, I'm back. Have you ever worked with HTML? If you're asking me that, well, the website at letsbuildthatApp.com, where you can get all of the courses, that's all using React.js, which is heavy HTML. Thanks for Node.js course. That's the best thing you could do. Lots of love from India. Awesome stuff. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people are from India inside of the course. Okay, so Buggyman says, I want to authenticate students in iOS project with their university login and download their timetable in my project. But the problem is there is no API for that. Please guide how can I do? So the problem with the university logins is the student login password is hooked up to the university's database. So unless you have access to the university database of accounts, it's going to be pretty much impossible for you to authenticate them through your private project, because you don't have access to all the email password information. That's going to be pretty hard. So unless you're working for the university, all of this, what you're trying to do might not be possible. Okay. So someone asked me if I got my iPhone 10. So iPhone 10 is here. I don't really know what to say about the iPhone 10, really. It seems to be all right. So nothing too fancy. Yeah. I'm not exactly like a big phone nerd. So, I mean, yeah. Okay. So we're at 43 minutes. Okay, what are we doing? What about Android courses? Android courses, I would love to put out Android courses as well. I was wondering if you'll be able to have some training on Sketch, since it's a very popular design program for apps. Personally, I don't use Sketch a whole lot. What I really want to do for this channel is to expand it to include design, like how to design applications as well. And the reason why that's important is when you're submitting your applications as your portfolio projects, design is probably even more important than the actual technology that you're using. If your application is ugly in your portfolio, people won't really take you seriously. So having good design skills is very important as an iOS developer. Please consider making videos on Android development. It would be awesome if you create Instagram and Android like you are in iOS. Yeah. I mean, I really hope everyone has found those Android videos helpful on this channel. Did you have a regular job before dev, or was your route through education industry? And I currently can't make the leap to paid employment as a dev, as take internship for no money. So that's a good question. So I didn't start out as a developer. I started out as a software support engineer, which meant that I trained people on how to use software, and I would fix bugs. And then eventually I got into programming in that role. And that's only because I knew how to program in college. So it was very easy for me to get into like C# programming for that job. And then eventually I decided to get a full-time developer job, and that's kind of what led me into develop or programming for the next like 7 or 8 years. What is good now in 2018? Python developer, Android. Yeah. So message retracted. What does this mean? Does this mean that the super chat was retracted? I didn't know that was possible. As a backend developer, do you find architecting the system and optimized algorithm really enjoyable? Have any thoughts on that compared to animation or UI design? So the question is architecting a backend more interesting and more enjoyable compared to animation and UI design? That's a really hard question to answer. Personally, I like to do a lot of different things. I like to really learn about different technologies and how they work. I guess in general, I'm pretty curious about how people put things together. So whenever I'm able to like touch on something else other than iOS development, you have Android, you have backend, you have HTML, you have React, like all of this stuff is super interesting. So I wouldn't say that any aspect of it is more enjoyable than anything else. I think they're all pretty enjoyable. Yeah. Are there any upcoming animation videos? Really enjoyed the last one. I would like to put up more animation stuff as well. I don't really have a lot of ideas for animation yet, because I haven't really focused on that. Yeah, if people could, I guess not comment, but later on, yeah, I'll find some animation ideas. Abdi Kadar says, do you do courses on YouTube, courses and YouTube full time? Currently, yeah. Currently, I'm a full-time YouTuber and a full-time course creator. And for the people that are trying to get into YouTube and course creation full-time, or just course creation in general, it's very difficult if you are not doing it full-time, because the hardest part about recording isn't actually like preparing, or it's not even about editing. It's like, for me, it's actually getting in front of the camera and hitting that record button. And the more often you do that, the better you get at it. And if you're not doing it full time, it's going to be one of those things that you really procrastinate on. Yeah. So the folks that tend to create courses like part-time, you'll see that they typically will give up and do something else because it's difficult to do it part-time. What do you think about microservice movement? I think it's good. That's what every website is built on right now. For example, it allows you to purchase things on Amazon really quickly. 4 gig of RAM good enough for Xcode? I don't think it is. I have a 16 gig computer, gigs of RAM, and that's what requires, or that's what, yeah. So Animal says that I'll definitely watch the Instagram course again. Skip the camera part earlier as I had no iPhone to test. Hopefully you have your iPhone right now. Still on Mac from mid 2010, and it has 4 gigs of RAM, so definitely you can use it for Xcode. Yeah, you can use it. It's just a lot of people ask me during the videos, like, how am I able to run my code so quickly? And it's because I have a really fast machine. It's an old 2013 machine, so it's 4 years old, but it still runs really, really fast. It's like the upgraded SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, and good processor. A really good investment. Should you start Patreon or something like that for donations? YouTube iOS app doesn't appear. It doesn't support super chats. So Patreon. I guess one thing I'll say about donations for this channel is that I don't exactly expect or want donations. I've never been really comfortable at taking people's money for nothing in return, really. So if anyone wants to donate to the channel, I would rather have you like purchase a course, because you'll get something back for it. I don't really want to take things for free. But if you want to support the channel, Super Chat is the way to go. I don't have a Patreon channel. I don't exactly. Yeah. Patreon is a weird place to be, I think. I'm not sure I want to go down Patreon at all. So do we need to learn JavaScript for Node.js training? Stupid question, Ikram. So you're gonna have to. So Node.js is actually. You don't really exactly need to learn JavaScript, but the tutorials will be so easy to follow that you don't need to learn it, really. Yeah. So my teaching style is going to be able to teach you how JavaScript works as you're programming through it anyways. So, could you do a Python program? So I'm not a Python programmer at all. That's one thing that I have never really got into. I've done like Python scripting a little bit, but not really Python programming for like a real project. There's an iPhone X on the table behind you. Yeah, so over here is an iPhone X. Yeah, so it's one of these guys. I got the silver one. It's nice. Really no complaints. The one thing that I do think can use a little bit of work is what do I want to say? Okay, so my biggest gripe about this phone is that when I'm sleeping, so like many of you, we have our phones like right next to us when we're sleeping, right? And you pick up your phone, you try to unlock it. It's actually really difficult to unlock with the Face ID when you're oriented like horizontally. So that's my biggest gripe with it. Other than that, everything seems to be pretty solid with the new iPhone 10. It's really fast compared to the iPhone 7. I think Apple is really slowing things down for older phones. I think it's called scheduled obsolescence, something like that. Yeah. Good way to get people to purchase new iPhones. PDF from a server, need to store them on a device, list them on the device. Other apps should not be able to open and read the books. What's the best way I can do it in iOS? So if you have PDFs, you can store the PDF as binary data and core data, and then you would just store each book as like a book object that has a binary data attribute. Store that in there, and then that should be good enough. And then you can also use iOS's or the UI kit that has a PDF reader, and just read the PDF directly from the binary data that you're storing. Should be pretty straightforward. Love that you're going down and answering most questions. You're the first YouTuber ever to do this. Certainly does take a lot of time to answer everyone's questions. You promised to teach us how to build Spotify. Oh yeah, that's the other course that I forgot to mention here. I actually either want to build like either Spotify or the iTunes app or the podcast app. So one of these apps that play sound and music and going through the AV music sound player object. Yeah. 2 words, child view controllers. Yeah. It's a pretty complex topic. So Matthew Becker says, good to hear from you again. Do you think push notifications for Instagram will be out by the end of this year? Yeah. Hopefully it should be out by the end of next week. And because I don't really have much planned other than that for next week. And yeah, as you guys can tell, we push things out pretty often and pretty frequently on this channel and the website. Where did you get the idea to start up a programming YouTube channel? So Tyler asks, how did I conceive of this idea? So this channel started in January of 2016. How did I come up with the idea? I don't really know. I think the inspiration and the motivation for this channel really came from me working at a couple of different companies working on iOS and Android. And I think I did that for close to 4 to 5 years. So during all of that time, I wanted to build a lot of different projects, but I was kind of bound to my company at the time, and I didn't have my own personal projects to work on. And so I really wanted to work on a lot of different projects at the same time. And so this channel was just a way for me to build out things that I thought was cool on the App Store. And I wanted to also see if other people were interested in learning how to build these apps. And having taught boot camps, I can already see that boot camps weren't doing a good enough job at taking non-developers and transforming them into real world developers. So that's where that idea came from. And like anything in the real world, it takes a lot of time to build up a following, have people interested in the idea, and then have people kind of confirm that your idea is something that people want to pick up. So it's been great so far. The channel's been up for close to 2 years now, and like it's been great. So AI, I don't really think I'm gonna do AI. Lost in Swift, what would you recommend to learn? New iOS APIs in Swift. I don't know. I don't really have any recommendations other than following this channel on what you think is interesting. Getting a job in California, iOS developer, becoming difficult. Any suggestions? I don't know. The thing about getting a job as a developer is that it's much easier to land an offer when you're working at a different company full time. And that's because there's just something about being employed which makes you seem more valuable. If you're not currently employed, it's difficult. Do you know about algorithms and time complexity, how to calculate big O and stuff like that? So a lot of those algorithm lessons that I have on this channel, we don't really go over big O notation a whole lot. And that's maybe something that I should really start doing, because big O notation is really important. A lot of interviewers will ask you about time complexity and how efficient your algorithm is. And usually it's just big O of n squared, log n log n, and either constant time. It's very theoretical, and you learn a lot of this in school. I'm not an expert at this anymore, but I can answer most of the basic questions. There's no easy way of easily implementing a way for users to mute notifications for, say, an hour without writing server-side stuff for an iOS app. I think that is true. That is true. So, Two Ball Kane says, say no to Patreon. Yeah. I don't really have anything against Patreon, but it just seems like, I don't know, my time can be spent way better than begging for money on Patreon. My first week in SF has been amazing. I really hope we will have the chance to meet. Oh yeah, so we have Freddie Ash, and you did email me about your adventures in the Silicon Valley. I might be in San Francisco later this week to do some things with a company that everyone is going to be interested in on this channel. So if I have that set up for next week, then maybe we will have some time. Can you teach us how to build Swift frameworks? Oh, that's a good one. Wes Law says, I love hearing your voice. Well, that's good. The only courses you haven't really covered is hooking into Stripe or a live streaming app like you now. So for the Stripe question, I will try to integrate something like Stripe for an Airbnb mapping course. And Stripe, while it's not hard, the problem is that there's a lot of moving parts with Stripe. So you have to make sure that you have this public key that generates a token for your credit cards, and then you have to submit this token to Stripe, and everything has to work to make sure that the credit card payments are actually being processed in your account. So yeah, planned obsolescence. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I know even when I had my iPhone 7 Plus before it got stolen in China, it was really slow. My iPhone 7 was really slow. Otherwise, you seem to cover pretty much all anyone could hope for. Thank you. Love you, but gotta go. Apple also makes the older devices less brighter with a new software. Yeah. How would you define life? Life is whatever you make it out to be. That's how I would define it. Spotify full of amazing animations. Yeah, they got really good stuff, and they have a good team of iOS engineers, and that's why they're able to build out such a nice looking UI. I have noticed that they haven't updated their iOS app to support the new iPhone display. Or maybe they have. It seems like they just updated their UI to support the iPhone 10. So it looks like that right now. It's a Spotify app. Looks good. I have a project that builds out some of this UI that looks like the Spotify app right now. I don't know if people are super interested in the UI anymore. Maybe I'll just release it as a purchasable project. Accept Bitcoin for your course is the only reason I have not purchased. There's so much content out there to learn for free. I try not to spend. Take Bitcoin, I'll start your courses right away. I will have to do research on how to best accept Bitcoin as a payment option. So I do agree that there is a lot of free content out there that is free, and a lot of content is really good. It's just that if you really need like a good mentor, then the videos are helpful, and if you find that the courses here are super helpful, I think it's a good investment to save yourself a lot of time, because if you like the teaching style, obviously you'll get the most out of it. So Ahmad says, I would enroll for sure. Thanks for taking the time to respond to all of us. Yeah. Jack says, hey, Brian, love your courses. What's the best way to store location data on Firebase? GeoFire is good. Do you have video on core data? It's with 4. So we have the core data course. You can find it using the link down below. And you'll have a lot of Swift 4 lessons on how to use core data. First week into Instagram, Firebase course. Love it. Well, glad you're liking it. Everyone that's been enrolled in the core data, the Instagram course, has been really enjoying it. Developed a way of using Firebase push notification from the Instagram course. I don't know if it was the proper approach, but it was working for a project I have in the App Store using Alamo Fire. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways of using push notifications. Also recorded a video and shared it for people looking for that solution. Awesome. Great. So it looks like we are done here. Any advice for developers looking for remote gigs? Not really. I'm currently using Navigation Controller, which comes with a navigation bar. Is it a good idea not to use the default navigation bar and use some kind of customized view instead? I would stay away from using a customized view. Just stick with the default navigation bars. It'll save yourself a lot of time. Animal says, thanks, I checked it out. I don't know if it was asked about, but I'd like to see Core ML ARKit tutorials. We'll see how much I can put out there. Okay, so that seems to be the last of the questions for today. Thank you everyone for joining me today in today's live stream. I will try to do another live stream in either the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks to answer everyone's questions on the channel. And I'm going to try my best to push out more and more video content for everyone on the channel as fast as I can. And hopefully everyone's going to be interested in the Node.js course. It's going to be fun for me to develop, and it should be very fun for you guys to learn the most that you can. So I will get to everyone's question next time, and I will see everyone later. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.